2025. Approval of the agenda. So there are two requests. The first request is from Councilmember Carrera to remove item 10B, so that will strike from the agenda. The second is we will be pulling 9B out. We would like to wait until after this position is advertised before we vote on it. So do I have an approval of the agenda as amended?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. I would like to take a minute to thank our firefighters for their work today. I hear it was a busy one, so thank you for your service to the city. I would also like to take a minute to acknowledge the families that were displaced by the fires today. You are in our thoughts. Please keep them in mind during our moment of silence. Please join us for a moment of silence, and Councilmember Seiberling, will you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right now is public comment time. We have several people signed up for public comment. When you come up, please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Lena Connor will be keeping the time. First up is Jennifer Cooper. Okay. First up is Laura Hampton.
Good evening, Laura Hampton, 129 Cabell Drive. I wish to express deep disappointment over last week's 4-3 decision to disband the citizen-led 50th Anniversary Committee. The decision was made based on incorrect information, without speaking to the committee, to the city manager, attending a committee meeting, or even showing up at the February 16th kickoff event. You did not give the committee a chance to address misinformation before stripping us of our work. Had you engaged with the committee, you would know, except for less than $3,000 in software and registration fees, every event so far is funded by donations and gifting kinds, not city funds. The committee has sent drafts of letters and invitations only to the mayor by way of the city clerk's office for approval, for signature and distribution by the mayor's office. The committee has not reached out to anyone that's an elected official. Per the many recorded presentations and to council in 2024, the plan has always been funding events and reimbursing the city for hard expenses through donations, not the $25,000 budgeted placeholder. And any net profits from the October 4th event would benefit the Bell Foundation to support scholarships for Manassas Park students. The committee members are dedicated residents who volunteered their time and resources and worked with the city manager's office to organize the celebration. The way the decision was made without transparency or respect for the residents' efforts is irresponsible, unprofessional, and disrespectful to the 20-plus volunteer residents and other taxpayers whom you represent. Please, in the future, do confirm your facts before making decisions affecting the community. And frankly, you owe the residents, the volunteers who planned and did work for the 50th anniversary, an apology, not a defense or an explanation for your decisions. Please do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jessica Benitez.
Hello, I'm Jessica Benitez. My address is 148 Holden Drive, Manassas Park. I'm here upset the same reason as Laura. I had spoken to a few middle schooler and high school students who are in choir who were excited about, being able to sing the national anthem for the July, I think it was July 5th or 1st, yes. So, there were things in the works. So now we have to go back and retract and talk to parents and talk to kids and let them know that, no, actually, I'm sorry, this is no longer happening. So I don't know why it happened. I don't understand how it was just, abrupt like that, but here we are. So that is my grievance with this.
Thank you. Next up, Mike Smith.
Mike Smith, 102 Colfax. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the governing body. I had comments on 3 different topics. This is always too low. Can I make that a fourth comment? Taller microphone stand, requested by one resident. So at a recent council meeting, the topic of safety vests was brought up. I really like that. I think that's a great idea to provide added safety to our residents at what sounded like a nominal cost, especially to the elderly and residents on the west side, where we already know how dark it is over there. The streetlights are not good, and it's going to cost a fortune to fix the streetlights and take forever. A lot of the streets don't even have sidewalks, so just making this an option for the residents seems like it would be a good, hey, here's a safety thing, courtesy of your city council. Let's do it, make it happen. Second topic, as Laura and Jessica already mentioned, wanted to express displeasure with the vote, the 4-3 vote to disband the committee at last meeting. And regardless of intentions, to not have the opportunity for public comment from the community, it feels disingenuous and really just sneaky. You know, there should have been an opportunity for public comment on that. Lack of transparency and respect really is the key here. For my final topic on the publishing of the names of people who owe taxes, all in favor of people paying their taxes, absolutely. I did see that is on the agenda for tonight. There was a presentation. I did not have a chance to review that yet, so I am hoping, before I go off on a tangent here, I look forward to seeing the presentation. And I'm worried about the timing because I'm a federal contractor. I know a lot of people in the region work for the federal government. All of us are at risk of losing our employment at any time, and it's maybe bad timing. I don't know. Not my call, but my opinion is it's a difficult timing to do that. And I hope to see metrics on what other cities and counties around here already do that, and information on what a person needs to do to get off of the list. For example, if they get on a payment plan, would that qualify to get their name taken off of the list? I hope that information can be provided to us tonight. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Cooper will be saving her comments till the end of the meeting, public comment time. Is there anyone here who's not signed up for public comment? Come on up.
Mike is too tall and I am too short. So here we are. Hi, my name is Marinka Gadzikowski. I live at 127 Scott Drive, and I've been a resident of Manassas Park since 2012. I have a couple of things that I would like to mention. The first, in regards to the people who will be publicly named for not paying their taxes. I also really support people paying their taxes and being active members in their community. But I think that we are in unprecedented times and uncharted waters with a pretty significant shakeup, financially speaking, to the area. There are a lot of federal employees, federal contractors, and people who are otherwise reliant on funds. 3 of my own doctoral students lost their postdoc funding, and so they will not be they're not going to be employed come August like they thought they were going to be. So it's concerning, and it makes the city look insensitive and perhaps just out of touch with the struggles that the citizens are having at this time. The second point is in regards to this disbanding of the 50th anniversary celebration. I do understand that when a new administration comes into power, they want to do things their own way, and I can certainly appreciate that. But there is something to be said for sitting down and figuring out how things are working before you just dismantle everything. A lot of effort had gone into that. There was a lot of planning that was already in the works. As Jessica pointed out, children were already being involved and looking forward to those opportunities. And I think it's just going to leave a lot of residents feeling like our feelings are not considered and that our opinions don't matter. So public comment time would have been greatly valued. And my third point is there are a couple of other committees that were formed fairly recently. One of them is the Community Working Group, and another one is Keep the Parks Beautiful. And in light of the City Council's recent decision decision to disband the committee for the 50th celebration, I've now become very concerned that those two groups will also be summarily dismissed. So it would be wonderful to hear from the council at some future point about your plans for those, because those have been the only effort to pick up trash. So community-based and very reliant on us, the citizens. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to make public comment? Sure. Please state your name and address, and then limit your comments to 3 minutes, and Ms. Connor is keeping time.
Okay. Good afternoon, or good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, staff. My name is Eddie Harden. My address is 9303 Payne Court. I apologize, I didn't get a chance to sign up for the public comment. So I sent an email to both you all recently over the weekend regarding disabled veteran tax exemption status. Not necessarily for the exemption itself, but more so for based off of the registrar's office. So my wife and I, we've lived here, both veterans, both disabled veterans, Marine Corps and Army. We've lived here since 2022. So we moved here from Maryland, both DOD or whatnot, and we both still work in that kind of arena. Side note, I do agree with the rest of the people about the publishing of names from a cybersecurity perspective. I'll just put that on the record. But going back to the topic, for about four occasions, we've visited the CRR's office and to talk about our tax exemption status for our home. And on literally every occasion, we've received, we've been disrespect, we've been treated kind of, I'm not gonna say harshly, but very condescending tone, and I think that's kind of unacceptable. Have we been complied with regarding the Virginia state law? Sure, yes, we have tax exempt status. However, on more than one occasion, we had to go back and repay taxes because the system is not working, or hey, I forgot to input this, or I forgot to input that. Additionally, both myself and my wife had to provide our 100% disabled veteran letter to that office more than once. Like every time we had to come, hey, where's your letter? It's like, I provided to you. I also have an email or several emails in which we sent to them. So, keeping in time for 3 minutes, I have recommendations that I wrote in the email. I just want to state it on the record here. First is our understanding the organizational structure of the government. Got it. People, then COR, there's probably nothing you all can do. However, for that office, delegate and enable. I noticed that the people that work in that office are not enabled to access those systems nor process tax exemption claims. That is a kind of a process flaw itself. Do you trust the people or do you not? Number two, org structure. Maybe we should look at, from a Manassas Park government perspective, updating the organizational structure such that accountability can be implemented for these kind of situations. Otherwise, that leaves people having to go to the state level and so on and so forth. Number three, process efficiencies. There should be an end-to-end process with metrics such as mean time to acknowledge, mean time to resolve or whatnot for tickets, and that would allow people. And here's one example. All right, hey, I go and submit my claim or submit my documentation. Hey, we honor our metrics or our requirement is such that, hey, within a week, you will have some kind of answering decision on your tax exemption status and will be implemented. That is all I have. I'm kind of very bothered by this situation. I mean, most recently I went in about, I think last week to talk to them and received the same exact thing. Ms. Woods has been very disrespectful, condescending, if I'm being quite honest. So thank you for your time. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? Okay. Recognitions. Tonight we have recognitions for the 50th anniversary kickoff event, which was February 16th, 2025. Councilmember Amaya?
Yes, thank you. The past, what was it, 9th of March, I think? No, February. February 20-something. 16, thank you. February 16th, we had the kickoff event for the 50th anniversary, and we had about, I think, 12 to 18 people show up and learn about what we were planning on doing for the celebrations, the year-round celebrations. And today we want to recognize two of our sponsors that helped us with that event with in-kind donations. One of them was EnFete, Miss Carey Hall. Is she here today? She is not, okay. And then we also had Marcelo Maldonado for the Happy Bakery. He's here today. So I want to present to you the certificate, and I want to say thank you so much for your support. He doesn't live in Manassas Park, he lives in Prince William, and he's a home-based business right now, so we wanted to support a small business as well. And regarding the 50th anniversary, even though we don't have the committee anymore, we are still planning with the staff the events that we had originally put into programming. But now we're going to be basically relying on volunteers, and staff will be the one directing the events. So we're still going to try to have this done. We're still going to try to honor our city and celebrate its 50 years of being Manassas Park, and it's not going to be something that we're going to let it go. So for all the volunteers and all the people that are very involved, we're still going to try to have this done because I believe that the city deserves a celebration.
Thank you. Next up is a presentation from the treasurer, publication of names of delinquent payers. Welcome, Ms. Trimble.
It's actually delinquent, but it's okay.
Sorry.
You did.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, it's not the present, oh, here's the presentation. Okay. I can.
If you make it full screen, it'll work just like a regular presentation. That's it. There you go.
There you go.
N for going forward, P for going backward.
Okay.
That's confusing.
All right. I'm just gonna find it here.
All right, welcome, Ms. Dellinger.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me this evening, and residents.
Can you bring the mic a little closer? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I want to clear up a couple things. First of all, as a treasurer, when you're elected, I'm elected by the people, and we all have to be held accountable. As for 2024 personal property, we are now, just for this year alone, which was due in November, 1.2 million in delinquent. Thanks to our firefighters today, our police department, our public works. Hey, if we don't collect that money, we don't have people coming out. And I'm not trying to shame anyone. It is our responsibility to collect. We're not like posting it on a board on Manassas Drive. What we're stating is we're going to post it in our office. It's going to be on the treasurer's website. We have umpteen time tell people you can pay, you can come in and say, hey, I can't pay all this today. The more you pay before a tax bill is due, that's less penalty and interest you're going to have on what you couldn't pay on. Without this money, the schools, we need the money. It's not to make anybody, other jurisdictions, they post it in the newspaper. They do have it on a flashing sign. We have never done this. They seize cars at night. They have them towed. That means if you have delinquent tickets, you have to pay them. You have to pay the taxes. On top of that, you have to pay the tow company. That's not a route we want to take. We never have. We haven't. Right now, we've seized all, not doing any payroll liens, because if the city does a payroll lien on a taxpayer, we come after child support. So that means we're going to get most of that pay. You're only going to get a percentage. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the city running. An example, today we had a taxpayer that paid from 2022 to today over $8,000. All I'm asking is come in, work a payment plan out, pay your fair share. We're not shaming anyone. So, it's means of collections. Is there any questions?
Okay. Any questions? We'll start down with Councilmember Cyberling.
No, I don't have any questions. Well, I should just know, when I was listening to the comments, I was hearing, it's insensitive to the time and out of touch. I think we stayed in touch a lot during COVID, and there's always something. These delinquencies are not going to be based on a job that you lost this month. And as long as they're coming in and making arrangements, are they on the list if they're making arrangements and have that in progress with you?
We've had payment plans, and I have residents for housing, for their taxes for their house.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on a payment plan. I've had residents that I've let.
So would you put them on the site if they're on a payment plan?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So also, what's the frequency that you're going to update this site? Because one of the things that I find with our site is that sometimes things get stale.
No,
So
ours is going to be updated every week.
Okay.
If you've paid, just like a parking ticket, if you've paid it, you're coming off the list.
Okay, so
They're
every
going
week.
to update every week.
Okay.
But like we have payment plans now, and I've got a couple residents. I've had one gentleman on a payment plan 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He's failed all 3 times.
But as long as you're on a payment plan and you've made some type of payment,
If you stick
you're
to
not
your
on the
payment
list.
arrangement, and we've had people that call and say, hey, we can't pay this month because blah, blah, blah came up. Okay, start back next month. This is your due date. Give us a heads up.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Treasurer, for the presentation. I'm going to say I do not support this, especially for that amount, for $10, $15, $20. Now, I'd understand if someone owes $1,000 or $2,000.
Oh, it's not, anything, state code says anything under 10. I'm not going to blast you for $10.
No, I know, but it allows the ability to do that.
It does.
I've been to 25 or 30 courthouses where the treasurer sits in there. I've never seen this in any one of them. I just think the amounts are too low. It is a form of shaming. I get if someone owes $1,000 or $5,000, maybe they should be shamed, but not for 10, 15, 20. On water bills, you have the ability to do water cutoffs. They have a reinstatement fee. We're going to have people probably a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs probably in the next couple of months. I just have a concern. You have people on fixed incomes. It's a very expensive area. The $10, I mean, you have the ability to go through the Department of Taxation, put liens on their income tax. You have the ability to do DMV stops. I just think this is time consuming. I would cap it at probably, I think maybe someone has 1,000, but I think this is too small. But thank you.
Carl, could we have actually some references as to what other jurisdictions do regarding delinquencies?
No, I couldn't find any others that do it, although the state code does allow anyone to do it.
They listed in the newspaper. Like I said, they seize your car. For housing, we could put a lien against your home. We can garnish your wages. We can do a bank lien.
Do we DMV as well?
We already have DMV, and I hate to tell you, DMV will let you register a new car and renew your tags even if you have a stop.
So do you do those things? Do you do the liens and you do liens on?
We stopped doing liens right now for payroll liens because of the hard time people were having. They were coming in saying, hey, you're taking like 80% of my income, I can't pay my rent, or I can't pay this or that. So they went on a payment plan. The thing is come in and ask, can I have a payment plan?
So you mentioned that a few other jurisdictions also do this. Do you know which ones they are and how?
I can get back to you with them.
Do you know how how the results are when they're posted? Do they get better results?
They have better results, and they put theirs in the paper.
Okay.
We don't have a local paper.
And then just something that Mr. Smith alluded to, how would someone qualify to come off the list? Would it have to be paid in full, or would they have to start a payment plan?
You have to start a payment plan. Just remember, with a payment plan, you do not get a decal until your car is paid in full, which that could subject you to a $250 ticket, which is beyond my control.
Okay.
I don't control that part.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mayor. Thank you, Madam Treasurer, for coming before us tonight. I've heard a lot of emails, concern from our residents about this, and voiced by some of those who spoke tonight at public comment. I definitely want our city manager to get us, he said he's done the research, or if you could provide other communities, because I did call around to Manassas and other places, and they don't do this kind of action. But what I really like you to focus on is your next slide, your future action, because I think the community, it's important that they see that as well, what you're planning on doing.
I can't even see.
Because we just said that we don't tow trucks and cars and all that kind of stuff, but our plan now is to do that, is that correct?
We can do that.
No, I'm not saying we can, I know that.
We
have
will
that law. I'm asking, are we going to do that?
If this doesn't work, we're going to have to do something. And what I'm saying is, we're not, if you owe 2024 and you've had a hardship, you need to come see us. But we're talking about people that could owe clear back to 2022.
So for a business that owes $10 to the city, we would tow their vehicles?
No. There will be a cap on it. That is what we can do. But there, I'm not going to tow somebody because they owe us $10. It's a waste of our money and theirs.
Well, as Councilmember Carrera mentioned, and I agree with him 100%, $10 is doesn't make sense, but you're saying that that's not the number you're going to use. I think what would be helpful for our community to know exactly. what the
500.
dollar- Okay, so that should be published and advertised, and people should be aware of that number of the policy going forward. And just overall, I do think it's not a great idea to shame people. I understand why the city is doing it. $1.2 million, or not the city, the treasurer's office, is delinquent. And hopefully the money will come
Okay,
in.
if we're all held accountable, and this is for everybody. You have single parents, you have widowers, you have elderly.
Yes.
They paid their taxes, they struggle. They come in, we have a resident, and he struggles, and he's like, I can do $50 a month towards my real estate. We'll take it. You're doing the best you can, and then he works with the rest. All I'm asking is we have to be accountable. You have to make an effort. You can't just say, you can't come in and say anything. There's no communications. We don't know your hardship.
And I know this doesn't necessarily affect your office, or if it does, you can help illuminate me about this. But the gentleman who spoke tonight, the disabled veteran, obviously has made his case known on numerous occasions, but yet and still that never
Wrong
helped out
office.
or worked.
I've helped this gentleman. Wrong office.
No,
We're
I'm not
good.
saying you, I'm just saying, as far
I
as
can't
the
control the
city.
Commissioner of Revenue.
No, I know.
And I can
I
stand
guess that's
here
what I
and
want
tell
the community to
you. As a matter
understand.
of fact, your wife had a baby, didn't she? Was it your wife or somebody else? I have another veteran that, same thing. I'm trying to help. I can't help, I can't control a different department.
No, and that's my point. I'm trying to point out to the community, because I got emails today. Because people assume that when things happen in the city of Manassas Park, that the council has a hand in it.
No, they
We
do.
don't.
You do
We
not
don't
have a hand in this
what
at
the
all.
treasurer does as an elected official, nor do we have our, anything to do with the commissioner of
Commissioner of
revenue as an
Revenue.
elected official. But we get the input. We get the complaints.
And you know what? I can tell you, residents, please come see me and call me. He is correct. They have nothing in this. It is, we need this money for our kids at school, for our fire department, for our police department, to help social services. It's not like I want to take your firstborn child. I love children, but I don't want any more. It's, come get a payment plan. That's all I'm asking. As a matter of fact, I was just mentioning it today in the office. People that get a payment plan, I would have to discussed this with the police department, is if we could give them a temporary placard saying, you're on a payment plan for 3 months. This placard goes in your car window saying, I'm on a payment plan, you know, this is good until blah, blah, March 31st. So they won't ticket. You know, if we could do that with them to help, you know, 250 could go to taxes instead of a ticket. It's not to shame you, it's nobody. I mean, we've all been there. We've, you know, we've worked 2 jobs, we've done what we have to do. And if it's $5 a week you can pay, it's making the effort.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just want to agree with Councilmember Carrera on the thresholds. I think the numbers that I am seeing here, tax bills over $10, 60 days past due, water bills $25, other bills $10. You know, those numbers feel draconian, right? And so if you're, what we're really saying is the threshold would be $500. That's a very different story. What would also be interesting to see is of the 1.2 million, how much of that is from accounts that are $500 and more, right? Do we have this long tail of $10 and $20 amounts, or is it primarily
3 and up.
Sorry?
Anywhere from 3 and up.
$300 and up makes up the vast majority of the 1.2 million. Okay. So I think that's an important thing to note. And then, the second thing that Mayor Mensing got is the efficacy, right? It is a shame tactic, right? We're putting out people's names to kind of compel them to pay so that they're not, publicly shamed. And so, does that actually work, right? And I know you said
Does it work?
Yes.
Well, I don't know who leaked it to the TV, to the Channel 5 News. We had one lady today. She paid over $8,000 because her husband said she better not be on that list.
Right.
Does it work? I don't know. That wasn't, but that's from 2022 to now. Does it work? I don't know, because I didn't leak it and I didn't publish it. My other option is I can send letters out to every resident, and it's a list of everybody's names, because I've tried to send bills. We have sent bills. We've sent delinquent letters. We've sent second letters. If you're on that list, say from 2023, you've got 5 letters and no response. What do you want me to do to bring in your money?
Right. No, I understand. But maybe, I don't know if this is something we can do, get more data on the efficacy of these programs in other jurisdictions.
According to state code, I shall and can. It's not an option for you all. It's my choice. And I'm not here to shame you. Tell your residents, call me. I don't want them to call you. Call me. Somebody politely put my email out there, use it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to help our residents. You got to help me some.
Thank you for coming. I just want to say, our treasurer department is the most relaxed treasurer department in the jurisdiction, for one. I just want to say that. The way that she accommodates our citizens in a payment plan, there's no, other jurisdictions will say, no, I need $1,000 a month. For her saying that, or $50, $100, whatever you can make, is accommodating to our people. Second, this is nothing new. This is state code.
Yes.
To get collections for the city, we need to publicize it.
Yes.
It's state code, simple as that. We sent letters out, and like Patricia was saying, that the letters were being returned back, okay? So now we can't collect, we can't enforce, so then the city is in a standstill. So I'm not putting any roadblocks on the treasurer department for doing her duties for collecting revenue for the city. This is, if it needs to be publicized in a website that's treasurer run, because we don't have a local paper, we can't do a paper, and the letters were inefficient. So that's the only route we could do. If you guys have any other options, then I could welcome to hear it, but I don't see anything. It's not public shaming, because in order to collect this money, we need to put their name somewhere. Every jurisdiction do it. If either you see your name on the newspaper or you see your name on the city website. They're going to see their name somewhere. Thank you. That's all I have.
Can I say one more?
Let's start with Councilmember Steiberling, we'll come back around.
So just to say, I definitely support it. A little shaming is a lot less than putting a lien on your home. To start, also, with the city of Manassas, although they don't have a filtered list to show who's overdue, I can look up any resident and I can see if they've paid their taxes, and I can go back as far as 2004, and I can type in their name, and I can see if they've paid 2025 and who's overdue. So in this case, this is just more of a filtered list is what I'm saying. So the information for everyone is already out there for most jurisdictions. I think even right now for us, right, we can
Yes,
type in an
ma'am.
address and just look up your tax payment. So this is just more of a filtered list, honestly.
I just have a comment and question. So, and I know you say that you give basically a handshake of $5, $10. I understand you may do that, but somebody else may come in and not do that, and that will be considered the standard, and that's a concern for me. That's why best practices, I believe, should always be was written down. The other question I have, the question I have is about what percent of the 1.2 million is commercial based?
Not as
For
much as you think. I can get that for you. It is mostly residential.
But you have the ability under state constitution to rate a business without warrant.
Yes.
Have
As
you
a
had-
matter of fact, we have a business where
Has that been done in the last 10 years?
seizing property.
Seizing property?
No, we place liens, and they have been working. We do have 2 businesses. We will be seizing their property. We don't actually physically take it because Manassas Park does not have a facility I can store this equipment in. But with the state, we will go out to this business, and there are labels we put on that equipment with the sheriff that says, you can't touch that equipment. That equipment's seized.
If it's possible, if I can get a list in the last 10 years, how many times that's been done, because I know that's standard practice in a lot of jurisdictions. Again, I just want to make the comment to, this is shaming. I mean, this is why it's intended to. And again, I understand shaming. I would say if someone knows 1,000, I think you shame them. But not someone who knows 15, 20, 30, 50, 100, 250 bucks. I mean, that's just, I don't know, there needs to be just the ones who refuse to pay. And I think we go through Department of Taxation and then through the DMV stop and the other ability you have under the Constitution. Thank you.
Councilmember Maya?
Do you want to shame someone for $20?
Nope. Anyone else, anything?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just to clarify, I did find other jurisdictions that do this. I have not been able to find any evidence of whether or not it's effective.
Oh, okay.
So that's the question, I think, is the answer is it going to work? And I can't tell you that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Dellinger, for coming out. We appreciate the presentation. Unfortunately, it's a little after the media, but. can't
Hey,
be
it's
helped.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. Next up is consent agenda. Tonight, the consent agenda includes the approval of the minutes from February 25th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Next, resolution for ambulance billing fee increase. Welcome, Chief Soper.
So, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the governing body. So tonight, what we have for you is the request to increase the ambulance billing fees. So back in 2011, when we started the ambulance billing fees for the city, we actually created an ordinance where you adopted an ordinance for that. Those rates are actually set by the Center Medicaid Medicare Services, not by the fire department themselves. So it's only rates that that organization sets for us. Originally, we set that in 2011 to provide 3 paramedics per year. That's what the billing offset was going to do. That lasted 1 year. So back in 2018 was the last time we increased our rates based off of what CMS allows us to do. As you know, EMS equipment continually goes up. This past fall, we were hit with a large bill that luckily ARPA picked up for us in the city. We have to now provide our own medications, our own storage, security for those medications because the hospital does no longer provide those medications to us. So in order to offset all these costs, we figured that now would be the proper time to bring this up, increase the billing fees to what our current EMS third-party billing agency wants us to do. They've made this recommendation year after year after year. I'm not an EMS billing guru, so we rely on them the most to do this. Our old company back in 2023, they didn't really recommend anything because we was kind of small potatoes to them. The new group, the first thing they said was, you're extremely low for your region. So I got with the fire chief from Princeton County, Manassas City, because we work so closely together. All three of us want to raise the rates at the same time because we cross jurisdictions. So for us in Manassas Park, we do compassionate billing, okay? Whatever we get from your private health insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare support, that's what we collect. As a city resident, any remaining balance is written off because you're a taxpayer. So we don't charge you the back billing. If for some reason you do get that bill and you cannot pay it, please come see the admin team. We're at the rec center. We're not at the fire station. We are at the rec center. Come see us. There is a plan to help you get through that hardship and not to pay that bill. Because the one thing we do not want you to do is do not call for an ambulance because you're in fear of a bill, right? We want you to continue to call 911 for help. That's what we're here for. But because the CMS allows us to bill, we're going to continue to bill for that funds through the private insurance, Medicaid, and Medicare, not through your private funds. That's the goal. So our current rates are at $600 for what's called BLS. The goal was to push it to $800. ALS 1, which was $700, we'd push it to $1,000. ALS 2, which is $800, which we push it to $1,200. And mileage would be the transport from the time you leave the scene to you get to the hospital, which is 2-3 miles on the street, which would be $12 to $15. So the ask tonight would be to change the rates to what CMS allows, and in the future, as they change their rates and allow us to change them, to be able to stay current with their rates moving forward, instead of having to come back every year and ask. And that's what the resolution would be for. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you. We'll start down here. Councilmember Javed, questions?
I mean, if you can just explain, it was kind of confusing at the cover letter of
Sure.
how it becomes a revenue. Because you're basically paying into the renewal and then also receiving, I guess, when the calls come in, the revenue from that, and it goes into a general fund?
So all the revenue comes in from ambulance billing goes directly to the general fund. And then where it goes from there is based off what the city manager wants to do with the funds.
Okay.
We don't receive the funds directly.
Yeah, not to the.
Some of it comes back.
Right, so it doesn't go straight to the department.
No,
is what
sir.
I'm saying. That's it.
Okay, just to ask, I had a similar question, but I was just going to ask in a different way. So if we did not approve this resolution, there's an estimated 50 to 75K per year that would be effectively a hit to the general fund.
Correct.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
That's the increase. That's what our current billing rates look like we would do based off our current call volume.
Thank you.
Chief Silver, first of all, thank you for the report. I just had one clarification in my mind. Did you say that we vote on this tonight, that it will automatically increase in future years? Because right now, you come to us and we,
Yes.
it hasn't happened since
That was
20.
that was a discussion we had amongst staff, was that if we do this now, instead of having to, like we just did from 2018 to now, those years between, there was rate changes that we could have did. But our billing company never said, hey, you probably would have jumped at this rate because CMS just changed their rates. We were not told, but if we were told, say, in 2019, we would like to be able to adopt those rates and move forward.
Without coming back to the council, or coming back to the council to adopt the new rates that maybe next year?
It would go to the city manager to make that decision, and if you want to go to the consent agenda, we'd go to the consent agenda, but wherever.
The only concern I have is, as everyone has testified, these are trying times. And I know the current administration has talked about cutting Medicare.
Correct.
Significantly. And I have no idea, because it hasn't happened, I think it will happen, what impact that will be to this and our citizens via the fees. I would prefer that this come back to us. I mean, It doesn't take very long. It could possibly even be on consent, but just to not know what's going on and it's increasing at various levels, I
would imagine
don't like
if
that.
Medicaid or Medicare gets hit, that CMS would not raise their rates.
Yeah.
There's no way they could do that, right?
And I think it's our duty on this dais to make sure that they don't raise their rates, and if they do, we know what's going on before it happens. So that's my only, and I was looking at the resolution, and I didn't see that point in here. Maybe I don't have the full resolution on page 20, because it doesn't mention automatic.
That was just in the staff recommendation, so.
Oh, okay, so
It was-
it's a staff
It was on my
recommendation.
oversight, so. I just-
So voting tonight is just for tonight's
Yes.
rate increases?
Correct.
Without the provision of it automatically being escalated?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chief.
From
Appreciate that.
2011 to current rates.
Yeah, that's fine. Good, good, good. Thank you.
So I don't think I heard, so the rates that are being increased right now are based on Medicaid and Medicare already raising their rates?
And
Or
the-
their allowable rates?
Yes, it's the Center Medicaid Medicare Services. That's who sets the rates, that says that
They set the rates.
the ambulance service can bill this amount of funds based off your region across the United States, right?
Okay.
Every region has something a little different, right? So what we bill is what's for our region. And
So what you're requesting now is what they're recommending right now?
what they're recommending for today, for this
Okay.
year.
Okay.
The question I have, thank you
Yes, sir.
for discussing this, bringing this. This will not be effective July 1st, it'll be effective right now. I mean, obviously, we're going to probably delay it.
We're going to go July 1st. Because it's going to
1st.
take our EMS billing company time to readjust their system.
Okay.
So we would make it effective on the fiscal year.
Okay, and I think anytime anything is
Yeah.
increased, because what we advertise in the budget, people
Right.
believe the increase always matches the budget. I just think should be any type of practice for any fee. I do have concern of increasing rates. I have a concern with the profiteering. I'm not saying you're doing, but the profiteering with insurance, especially with people with hardship and need in working communities. So I just have a major concern increasing this. That's just
Okay.
from where I stand. Thank you, though.
No, but it should not, well, our goal is not to increase anything out of the residents' pocket, right? Like I said, if they have a problem with paying the bill, come see us. We write off, I bet you we write off 2/3 more than we collect.
I believe you.
We probably collect 280 to 340,000 a year, which is pretty low for this region. And I bet we write off anywhere close to $1 million.
I mean, I remember I had an incident with my daughter. We had to ride in the ambulance from National Zoo, and I had to pay the ambulance fee, and it was like $500, and it was like 5 miles. And I understand there's expertise on that, but I find that to be the most abusive type of system and profiteering on people. And it's just, that should be looked at. I mean, I know it's a bigger thing, so that's just my concern about that.
It used to, the ambulance fees used to go to the hospital, you just never saw it in your bill. It was kind of in the small print.
I feel like driving to the hospital myself. I mean, and that's what it pushes people to do, that they don't want to go because the fees go up high, and I think they're overpriced. But thank you.
So I'm just looking here, and it says the City of Manassas Park, City of Manassas, Prince William County, effective July 1. So if we don't adopt, those other jurisdictions will. And so if they respond to one of our citizens, they will be charged these rates if
Correct.
a Prince William or City of Manassas responds. So it's the same. So I think the fact that we are equal to other jurisdictions in the response and the payment, I think that makes sense.
And there's a pretty good chance they'll come here because on a daily basis, we run
Yeah.
one ambulance every day. That's
So-
all we can afford to run every day is one.
This
So-
for sure makes sense that, to match the other surrounding jurisdictions, because if they respond to us, they're gonna charge us this, so.
if you-
If we respond to one of their residents, which happens, then we will also charge them. It's the
If you
same.
look at, 16,000 residents with one ambulance, it's a pretty good chance you're gonna see Manassas and Prince William here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I got a question. Yeah, so, I mean, the residents of City of Manassas Park don't pay for an ambulance ride, right? It's billed to the insurance, like you
correct.
mentioned, and then any copay is then written off, so
we
basically.
write it off. If you're,
So-
if you are a city resident and Manassas Park transports you, we will write that off.
So basically, there's no bill to the resident. So if this increases, that'll still stand?
Yes.
And if they're not insured by either Medicaid, Medicare, or private insurance, they can come to us and tell us that there's no
Okay,
insurance
yeah.
and that they can't pay the bill.
Come to us and we'll do a hardship thing. All you gotta do is prove your wages, your income,
Okay.
and then it's written off. I think
And
it's
it'll
like-
be the
It's a
same-
very low rate of what it is.
So, and it'll be the same criteria for let's say, SNAP or for like WIC DSS?
Yeah, the goal is, again, the goal is not to collect money from the residents for an ambulance ride.
Okay.
I want you to call 911. If you need us, call us. We
But-
will come and
But is that true if Prince William does the transport?
I
and
can't
not-
speak for Prince William or
Exactly.
Manassas.
So if Prince William comes and has to respond, and it's not a City of Manassas Park ambulance, then he can't speak for that.
I understand that,
Okay.
but that's, I want to make that clear too. If you have no insurance whatsoever, you're still stuck with the bill.
But again, I'll put this to you, if Manassas or Prince William transports you and you're having trouble paying that bill, come to the rec center and see the admin staff, and we will help you work through this,
Okay.
okay?
I just want to make one comment, and this is not to be funny.
Sure.
Now, I know the comment was made that we want to make it equal, but our tax rate's not equal. So the amount of taxes we pay, I would probably want the ambulance to take me and bring me back home, the amount of taxes we pay here. So just a comment on that. Thank you.
All right.
Feed your lunch, right?
Staff recommendation is that the governing body adopts and approve a resolution to amend the service fees for basic life support, advanced life support level 1, and advanced life support level 2, ALS 2, and the ground transport mileage fee pursuant to City Code 9-125 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
One opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, have a good night.
You too. All right, we've arrived at our second public comment time. We'll start with Jennifer Cooper. Please state your name and address, limit your comments to 3 minutes, and Ms. Connor will keep the timer.
Hello. Jennifer Cooper, 134 Colburn Drive. First, I'd like to state for the record, I'm very disappointed the treasurer left, knowing there were still going to be public comments regarding her presentation. So for the record, she has left. She is not here. Not sure if she's ever going to see or hear this. I'm here today because I believe in fairness, accountability, and dignity for all members of our community. Recently, Patricia has chosen to make the decision to publicly shame residents who are behind on their taxes or fines. She mentioned tonight that she's not going to blast people for more than $10, so she agrees that she is going to be blasting people for more than that. But she kept it reiterating she's not shaming anybody, but then saying she was going to blast people. So let's call it what it is, it's shaming. She says people need to come see her. If she's ever on our local Facebook community group, it is very evident that getting a hold of her is almost impossible. She may need to enhance her access. She stated that she saw that someone posted her email on that Facebook group. That was me. So she checks and uses Facebook pages as a resource to get, so she checks and can use online Facebook pages as a resource to get that information about payment plans out to the public. She's stating she sends letters. If we know that people are online, use that as a resource. I would like to request that if she said she can and she will go through with this. I ask that she performs an information campaign for a predetermined amount of time before adopting her shaming plan. And residents can and shall decide who we vote for. Her comments tonight were snippy and didn't seem to me much of a leader for the community who we voted for. She stated that it's public information for others to find out who owes taxes, so it's not far off for people to post the information. So is her personal address and phone number, and we don't go blasting that everywhere. It's a shame tactic, we know this. We can all agree that taxes and fines need to be paid, but she must understand that people fall behind for many reasons, and publicly shaming them does not solve the problem. It only humiliates and alienates our neighbors. Worse, it has a ripple effect. These lists aren't just seen by adults. Our children will see them too. Kids will recognize the names of classmates' parents, and we all know what that can lead to. I'm going to cut some of this out because she's not going to listen to this anyway. If the goal is revenue, there are more constructive ways to achievement, such as her payment plan she mentioned. This is the first time I've ever heard of a payment plan. I have not heard of the payment plan before, so her technique of letting people know is not working. I don't owe any back taxes, but I will tell you we are frequently late on our water bill because it is so annoying that's the only bill we have that cannot be automated. You literally have to go into that system, and sometimes it doesn't work. Annoys the mess out of me and my husband. He made sure I said something about that tonight. We are a community, and communities lift each other up. I urge her to reconsider this harmful practice and instead focus on solutions that maintain respect, dignity, and fairness to all.
Ma'am, it's 3 minutes.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? No? All right, next up is the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, governing body. I got a lot tonight, I apologize.
That's fine, good. Load us up.
First thing is, I know some of you already know that Yvette Money has moved on as the housing coordinator for the city. She did an excellent job of building a program over the last 2 years or so that I don't believe requires full-time attention, and so I'm moving that program into social services, and I'm not going to fill that position. In fact, I'm going to recommend we eliminate it in the next budget cycle. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. In the meantime, until Randy's crew is up and ready to take questions and go to public events, Sarah has got the download from Yvette before she left, and so please direct inquiries or if residents have questions to her until once we know that they're ready at DSS, we'll make that public and shift that responsibility to them, but that's how we're going to handle it in the meantime. Next thing, at the request of Public Works, specifically Alan, who is not a structural engineer, I authorized a $12.5K expenditure to get a structural engineer seal on a load rating on a culvert on Denver Drive last week. The culvert was replaced about 10 years ago, and they were supposed to have done a load rating as part of that project, and for whatever reason, it got skipped. It's required by the Federal Highway Safety Administration to have a load rating, and it's a risk to us if we don't have a load rating and something happens on that. And so we were notified on Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was due on Friday. So I just want to let you know that I did authorize that to get that done so that we wouldn't have penalties and that we can get listed on the National Bridge Registry. So just, again, I think it would pass underneath the radar if I didn't mention it, so I wanted you to be aware. The next thing is we have gotten the renewal from our healthcare provider for our employees for the fiscal year 26. It reflects about a 3.4% increase in costs. I understand that in the past, the governing body has opted to absorb increases and not pass it on to the employee. Right now, the employees pay about 16 to 25% of the healthcare costs, depending on how big their family is. And so as I'm preparing the budget for you all, I just kind of wanted to get an idea of where you come down on that, whether we should. There's no formula. The split, I say 16-25% because that's the math, but it was a flat rate that was applied. If you're a single employee, you pay like $155 a month. If you're a family of 4, you pay this. And so that's what it works out percentage-wise, but it was not ever prescribed as a percentage share. So I just kind of get an idea on where you come down on that and whether or not that's something we want to absorb on the city side, or if we want to share that cost or split that cost in some way with the employees. And so I'll pause now to talk about that before I get to the last item.
I know personally I need to marinate on that. Is it all right if we email you
Yeah,
that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You just want direction or a vote? Or what do you guys-
No, I'm just wondering, I didn't realize that it was a flat fee, and I had originally put it in the budget as a split, and then I was informed that the last time this happened, the governing body bore the entire burden of the increase, and so I was like, oh, well, I better ask them before I move down the road on what they want to do.
Could we see a scenario analysis of what it would look like if it was in both ways?
Yeah,
when's the
it
last
would be good
time-
to have that.
You mean for the healthcare costs or for the budget?
The healthcare.
Okay, it'd be much easier to do it for the healthcare costs than to do it for the whole budget. Okay.
Healthcare.
Yeah, I can whip that up for you
Trying to
tomorrow.
make your job easy.
Yeah, okay, sure, no problem.
Councilmember Javed, any comments or questions?
No, I mean, I'll wait for the analysis. I mean,
It would be
Great.
good to see the analysis.
but that's something we did do in the past because of Zoom calls.
Yeah, I wasn't aware, but thank you.
I'd also like to see when's the last time there was an increase for the employees. So if they haven't had, if it's been flat for the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, like when have we shared the cost? When's the last time there was an increase?
Okay, I can look. I don't know that answer,
Yeah, I
but
don't
I'll
know
look.
either, yeah.
Oh, Tony knows, so.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Tony.
I think what usually happens is every 2 years, there's an increase in insurance. And I think the last time you guys picked up the increase was because of COVID. So I think in the past, it's been a split between the city and employees. But I think the last time was because of COVID.
Okay, so you
that
think
the city picked
4
up.
years ago, it was a split?
Yeah.
Can you just confirm?
Sure.
Yeah,
And then
send
just kind of get, yeah.
Yep.
as well. Any other requests for information? Okay, we'll wait for your email, and then we'll let you know.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just wanted to get it out there to bat it around.
Thanks.
Last thing is Prince William County has asked us to review our ordinance that allows for the court to charge $10 for everybody that's convicted of a crime that was committed in Manassas Park. They charge this fee to cover the cost of court security. The costs of court security have gone up quite dramatically or quite significantly since 2007, which is the last time we revisited this ordinance. And Prince William County just raised theirs from $10 to $20, and they're asking us and Manassas City to follow suit. This is a fee paid by the convicted person, and again, it goes to court security, but Dean said, well, ask them. He said, I'm happy to prepare an ordinance, but let's find out if they're even interested in doing this, so.
So it wouldn't be a cost to the city, it would be a cost to the convicted person?
It'll only be a cost to the convicted person. It will be no cost to the city. Well, unless at some point Prince William County asks for some kind of a different arrangement for covering the cost of court security, but right now it's covered by that fee.
Is this just for people who are convicted?
Convicted only, correct.
And is there a threshold of crime here? I mean, is it,
No, any crime, misdemeanor or felony, well, yeah, misdemeanor or felony.
okay, anything where you would have to basically show up to court?
Well, show up to court, go to trial, and be convicted.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
Is it a one-time thing, an annual thing?
per crime.
It's per
Per crime.
Per conviction, but it's only 1 year. So if you're convicted and you live, like,
And so they'll say, we sentence you to 3 days in jail, $500 restitution, and pay the clerk $10 for court security.
it's a one-time thing.
For that crime, correct.
For that crime. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a fee.
And they're asking us to raise it to $20?
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
I think it's a no-brainer. I'm on board with that.
okay, is.
I'm a no. No.
All right, let's
No.
start, what?
I'm a no. I thought we were going down the line.
Let's start with Councilmember Cyberling. Are you
didn't even have
a
a
yes or a
So-
no? Because she didn't say anything, actually.
Yeah.
Yes?
I'm a no. They do fines. Court has fines. Court costs are always included in that. Fines are usually pretty high. So I think the state has a $3 billion surplus. And I know they're going to increase as an amendment part to some of the budget for the courts. I think they can get the money there.
Okay.
So you're against it, the $10?
Is
Yes.
against the $20?
Or it's $20?
Councilmember Amaya?
I think I'm for it.
Yes, okay. Daryl, I'm
I
sorry.
got
Vice
to
Mayor
get
Moore.
clarification, and I appreciate, City Manager, your questions. Are you asking us to make a legal vote now, or is this
Nope.
a straw poll?
It's just-
This is a straw poll to
Okay,
see if I
yeah,
bring you an
I-
ordinance for
thank
you to
I say
consider.
no, no on the $20.
Councilmember Morel?
Yes.
Javed?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like I will bring you an ordinance, so I hope Dean's still listening. Please do prepare that, and we'll try to get to you in the next meeting or two.
Okay, thank you. And I have one question for the manager report. There was something posted online on our Facebook group about weather tomorrow. Do you have any more to elaborate on that?
Chief Meteorologist Sarah?
Well, first, the running joke is if I send an announcement to tell people that there's going to be weather, then it automatically doesn't happen. So
Thank you.
nothing's going to happen.
Thank you.
No, but there's a chance of tornadoes, hail, gusty winds. It's a moderate risk, but it was enough that we wanted to make sure that our residents were aware. Staff is aware. They've been told to, not ride their motorcycles to work and stuff like that, but also park their vehicles or city vehicles away from trees, telephone poles, and power lines. Fire department, public works, and PD are all aware, and they have their, vehicles equipped. So we're ready to respond should, anything come to fruition, but fingers crossed, the luck of Sarah works out.
Have our schools put
I will say, I was watching the news right before the meeting, and they were raising all sorts of alarms, so
Okay.
Have our schools put out any kind of communication for the students at the bus stops in the morning, or is it?
It's supposed to hit in the afternoon. Tomorrow morning's supposed to be fantastic.
What about coming home?
That would be the
Kinda-
problem.
Yeah, just letting our schools know, make sure our schools have some type of communication out as well.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, anything else for the good of the city? No. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. 8.